Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasati Gaur Bhaktivedanta Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasati Gaur Bhaktivedanta Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasati Gaur Bhaktivedanta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna.
Jayo Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jayo Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashoda Nandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jayo Radha Gokula Nanda Radha Gokula Nanda Radha Gokula Nanda Sri Radha Jayo Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Jayo Gauranita Jayo Gauranita Jayo Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Ashtatarshad Shishimat His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Ashtatarshad Shishimat His Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Ramsaka Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shri Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Vrindavan Dham Ki Mayapur Dham Ki Jagannath Puri Dham ki, Ganga Mai ki, Yamuna Mai ki, Tulsi Maharani ki, Harinam Sankirtan Yega ki, Samaveda Bhaktivedanta ki, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna, welcome to Bhagavad Gita class. Thank you very much for coming, and for those joining online, thank you so much. And I request your blessings so that I can speak the truth. So everything related to the Shastra, and so that we can all benefit by it. So yes, today we are reading from Bhagavad Gita chapter 4 and text 35. Yajñatvana punarmoham evam yasyasi pandava yena bhutanya sheshani drakshyasi atmani yatomai. If you could please repeat. Yajñatvana punarmoham evam yasyasi pandava Yena bhutani asheshani drakshyasi atmani atomai. Yajñatvana punarmoham evam yasyasi pandava Yena bhutani asheshani Drakshya satmani atomai. Thank you. Would you like to recite? Yajñatvana punarmoham evam yasyasi pandava yena bhutanya sheshani Drakshyasi atmani atomai. Thank you. Yat, which. Gnatva, knowing. Na, never. Puna, again. Moham, to illusion. Evam, like this. Yasyasi, you shall go. Pandava, O son of Pandu. Yena, by which. Bhutani, living entities. Ashesani, all. Drakshashi, you will see. Atmani, in the Supreme Soul. Atau, or in other words. Mai, in me. Translation and translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Having obtained real knowledge from a self-realized soul, you will never fall again into such illusion, for by this knowledge you will see that all living beings are but part of the Supreme, or in other words, that they are mine. Sorry. And I will read now the first part of the purport, and then we can discuss, because it's quite a long purport, so I'll just read the first part now. Okay. The result of receiving knowledge from a self-realized soul, or one who knows things as they are, is learning that all living beings are parts and parcels of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna. The sense of an existence separate from Krishna is called Maya, Ma means not, and Ya this. Some think that we have nothing to do with Krishna, that Krishna is only a great historical personality, and that the Absolute is the impersonal Brahman. Factually, as it is stated in the Bhagavad Gita, this impersonal Brahman is the personal effulgence of Krishna. Krishna, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the cause of everything. In the Brahma Samhita, it is clearly stated that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the cause of all causes. Even the millions of incarnations are only his different expansions. Similarly, the living entities are also expansions of Krishna. The Mayavadi philosophers wrongly think that Krishna loses his own separate existence in his many expansions. This thought is material in nature. We have experienced in the material world that the thing, when fragmentally distributed, loses its own original identity. But the Mayavadi philosophers fail to understand that absolute means that 1 plus 1 is equal to 1, and that 1 minus 1 is also equal to 1. This is the case in the absolute world. Om Gyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militamina Tasmai Shri Guruvei Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitamina Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahaganara Gunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadvadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopasha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshvari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchakalpatarubhescha Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivas Adi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, so first coming back to the translation. So what is said here that we having obtained real knowledge from a self-realized soul, you will never fall again into such illusion, for by this knowledge you will see that all living beings are but part of the Supreme, or in other words, that they are mine. So yesterday, the verse that was read was 434. Do you maybe remember this verse without looking? Tad vidi pranipatena pariprashnana sevaya upadek shanti gyanam gyanina statvadarshina. Oh, so what does this verse say? It can be paraphrased. Please. Yes, that is really nice. Can you please take this mic? So you said that, that one needs to approach the spiritual master and inquire from him submissively, and he will impart the knowledge unto him. So this is the first point in this translation, the importance of accepting shelter of a self-realized soul. So why is that? If we think about the example, that if you see a blind man and he wants to get somewhere to the goal, can he be led by someone who is also blind? Is it possible? It's not possible, or it will be extremely difficult, and it will be very, very difficult to achieve the ultimate destination. So similarly with the spiritual master is someone, so in this analogy we are like a blind person, and spiritual master is someone who can see. And he is then taking us by hand and leading to the ultimate goal. He knows the goal. He can see the reality. And we cannot see this reality. And therefore we need someone who will show us the path. And what is this reality? Any ideas? Please take the mic.
The reality is eternal relationship as servants to Krishna.
Yes, exactly. So the reality is that we are the servants of Krishna, and we are not this body. Okay, so yeah. And Srila Prabhupada said that if we surrender to the spiritual master, inquire from him and serve him, then there will be no problem for us, that our spiritual salvation is guaranteed. And then it is said that having obtained this real knowledge, you will never fall again into such illusion. So it's like, you know, like waking up from the dream. When you have a really bad dream and you wake up, you don't really want to fall asleep again and dream about the same thing again. You just want to, you know, get up. You don't want to be again in the same situation. Definitely you don't want to repeat the same dream. So similarly, when once the spiritual master opens our eyes and we can see the reality, we don't want to again come back to the state of illusion, to the state of a nightmare that we are experiencing in this material world. And how is this going to happen? It is said that this knowledge will allow us to see that all living beings are parts and parcels of the Lord, that we are all belong to Krishna. So, you know, if we realize that we are all the same, then what will be the result? What do you think?
As in, if we all think we're the same.
Yeah, if we realize that we all are parts and parcels of Krishna, so in that sense we are all the same, what would be the result?
So if we are all thinking that we are the same, then I don't think we would, I think there would be a lot more respect for each other. We would see that we are parts of Krishna.
Yeah.
As much as we love Krishna,
Yeah.
we love that person in that relationship.
Exactly. Yes, if you think about it, you know, with that we understand that we have the same Father, you know, we come from the same Father, the same source, we have the same source, and we are all equal, like you said. We would have respect to each other, and we would not have any envy, because actually the envy that we are experiencing, it is all based on the bodily platform. All kinds of quarrels and, you know, fights and wars. This is all based on the bodily differences, that, you know, you are Indian and this person is English, and this kind of quarrels, you know, this kind of differences cause so much problem in the world. But the fact is that we are all the same, but the problem is that we cannot see at the moment. And that is why we need someone who will open our eyes and show us that we are all one. So coming to the purport, like we mentioned, that it is said here, the result of receiving knowledge from a self-realized soul, or one who knows things as they are, is learning that all living beings are parts and parcels of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna. And the sense of an existence separate from Krishna is called Maya. So in other words, living without Krishna is like living in a dream, which is actually nightmare, you know. This is illusion, that we think we are separate from Him, we are independent from Him. And imagine what would be if we really could see that we're all the same. There would be so much respect, like you said, and love for each other, because we will understand we're in the same position. So then Srila Prabhupada says something that we have nothing to do with Krishna, that Krishna is only a great historical personality, and that the Absolute is the impersonal Brahman. Factually, as it is stated in the Bhagavad Gita, this impersonal Brahman is the personal effulgence of Krishna. So, do you know what are the three aspects of the Absolute Truth?
So Brahman, Paramatma, and Brahmajyoti.
One more time. Brahman?
Bhagavan,
Oh.
Paramatma, and Brahmajyoti.
Okay. Yeah, so you said Bhagavan, that is?
The personality.
Yeah, the Lord, yeah, the personality, Krishna. And then you said that there is Paramatma.
Just the localized form of the Lord
Yeah.
the heart.
Krishna in our heart. And Brahman, which is Krishna's effulgence, like it is said here. So this is like we said that from Bhagavan. This is the topmost realization of Krishna. And then Paramatma is partial realization, and Brahman is also partial realization of Krishna. But so those who are Brahmavadis, who are accepting only this impersonal aspect of Krishna, this is actually also it's also coming from Krishna. That's the point, that even this impersonal realization is possible because it's Krishna's effulgence. This Brahma Jyoti is Krishna's effulgence, so it's coming from Krishna. And this is confirmed in Brahma Samhita, which says Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. Means Krishna is the cause of all causes. And this analogy, it can be understood. The example can be given of a cake. You know that when you are smelling a smell of a cake, then you can realize, okay, there is some realization of what is this. There is some nice smell. So this is like Brahman realization. And then you go and to the kitchen to check what's going on there. You can see the cake. So this is Paramatma realization. But then you get the taste, you get to taste the cake, and you really realize what this cake is, how it tastes like. So this is Bhagavan realization. So we understand that only in this Bhagavan realization we can really taste the relationship with Krishna, who he is. Otherwise, in Brahman realization we can only understand, perceive his energy, but we cannot get to know him as a person. But the point is that even this aspect is there because it's coming from Krishna, just like the smell of the cake is there because cake is there. Similarly, Brahman realization is there because Krishna is there. Yeah, and it is also another point which is made here in this fragment of the purport is that how the Mayavadis, they wrongly think that Krishna loses his own separate existence in his many expansions. And it is explained how this is a material thought. Because like in the material world, when we have one cake, and then we divide it into two parts, then there we have two halves of the cake. The whole cake is not there anymore. But with Krishna it's completely different, and this is confirmed in Shishopanishad in invocation. Om Purnam Ada Purnam Idam Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnam Adaya Purnam Eva Vashishyate. So it says here that the personality of Godhead is perfect and complete, and because he is completely perfect, all emanations from him, such as this phenomenal world, are perfectly equipped as complete wholes. And whatever is produced of the complete whole is also complete in itself. Because he is the complete whole, even though so many complete units emanate from him, he remains the complete balance. So that means even though Krishna has unlimited incarnations, he never loses anything. It's not like because he expands, then it's less of him. No, he's always complete. And similarly, it is said that that whatever is produced of the complete whole is also complete in himself, in itself. That means that we, as the living entities, the spirit souls, we are also complete, and there is nothing lacking. And it's so. That's why this. What we can see in the material world, how often You know, one may feel like I'm lacking something, I'm not good enough. But actually, this is said here that, you know, everyone is complete in itself. It's just that we based our value, our worth, we based it on this bodily condition. And of course, body is always full of faults. But as soon as we get this realization that we are the spirit soul, then we'll realize that there is nothing lacking in us, that we are complete in ourselves. And this is because we are coming from Krishna, who is complete in himself, and we are parts and parts of him. Yeah. So yeah, then another point is, it is said here that we are all meant to satisfy Krishna. By Maya alone, Arjuna thought that, sorry, this is actually the next part of the purpose, so let's read it now. So, for want of sufficient knowledge in the absolute science, we are now covered with illusion, and therefore we think that we are separate from Krishna. Although we are separated parts of Krishna, we are nevertheless not different from him. The bodily difference of the living entities is Maya, or not actual fact. We are all meant to satisfy Krishna. By Maya alone, Arjuna thought that the temporary bodily relationship with his kinsman was more important than his eternal spiritual relationship with Krishna. The whole teaching of the Gita is targeted towards this end, that a living being, as Krishna's eternal servitor, cannot be separated from Krishna, and his sense of being an identity apart from Krishna is called Maya. The living entities, as separate parts and parcels of the Supreme, have a purpose to fulfill. Having forgotten the purpose since time immemorial, they are situated in different bodies as men, animals, demigods, etc. Such bodily differences arise from forgetfulness of the transcendental service of the Lord. But when one is engaged in transcendental service through Krishna consciousness, one becomes at once liberated from this illusion. One can acquire such pure knowledge only from the bona fide spiritual master, and thereby avoid the delusion that the living entity is equal to Krishna. Perfect knowledge is that the Supreme Soul, Krishna, is the supreme shelter for all living entities, and giving up such shelter, the living entities are deluded by the material energy, imagining themselves to have a separate identity. Thus, under the different standards of material identity, they become forgetful of Krishna. When, however, such deluded living entities become situated in Krishna consciousness, it is to be understood that they are on the path of liberation, as confirmed in the Bhagavatam 2.10.6, Muktir hidvai niyatarupam svarupena vyavastiti. Liberation means to be situated in one's constitutional position as an eternal servitor of Krishna, Krishna consciousness. Yeah, so many points in this fragment, but how interesting how it is said here, you know, that there are two problems. Either one thinks that one is completely separate from Krishna. One thinks that I'm independent and I can just do whatever I want in my life. Or the other problem is that, like in Mayavadi's philosophy, they think we're all the same with Krishna. So, yes, now it may seem contradictory because we did say that, yes, we are the same with Krishna, but we are the same with Krishna in the sense that we are all the same in quality. So we are eternal like him, we are full of bliss like him, and we are full of knowledge like him, Satchitananda. As a spirit soul, this is our identity. But at the same time, he is called Vibhu Atma, means he is infinite. There is no boundaries for him. But we are called Anu Atma, that means we are very, very small. So small that we cannot even be measured. We are so small that we cannot be measured, and he is so great that he cannot be measured. So that is not right to think that, I am like Krishna, we are all God. This is not right. And another point which is made here is about what it means actually, liberation. Liberation means to be situated in one's constitutional position as an eternal servitor of Krishna. So that means that understand that what is my position, who am I? This is liberation, to understand who am I. If you understand who you are, then there's no confusion in life. And to understand who we are, we need, like we mentioned before, we need to approach the spiritual master, and he will engage us in devotional service. And this devotional service, this is really the way to understand who we are, and then it becomes, even one may be still in material world, but one may be liberated just because one is situated in their real position. So this devotional service, this Krishna consciousness movement gives us opportunity to practice this devotional service. And there are so many ways how one can be engaged. And the easiest way is to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And also we have so many books written by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, and this is another way how we can be engaged in devotional service. And we have wonderful prasadam, which is also service to honor Krishna's prasadam, which is sanctified food offered to the Lord. And we have an association of wonderful devotees, and if we just stay in this association, then we can, it's very easy then to practice devotional service, because when we are with devotees, then the discussion is happening about the service, about the Lord, and we encourage each other, and this is our protection. So, since we are running out of time, then I just would like to summarize the points that we made here in this class. So first of all, we spoke about the importance of approaching the spiritual master. We gave this analogy of a blind man who cannot be led by another blind man, and that's why we as conditioned souls, as being blind to who we are really, to our real identity, that's why we need someone who can see the truth, who can see who we really are, and that is the spiritual master. So we need to approach him, render service unto him, inquire from him, and he will tell us the truth. He will help us to realize the truth. And then we said about how once we got this knowledge, we will never go back again. So there is no doubt about this. We will not fall into ignorance again. And we also said how once we have obtained this knowledge, we will see what is the reality, and we will see that we are all the same. We are all parts and parcels of Krishna, and that will eliminate all envy, all discrimination. And we said that the way to achieve this state that we mentioned is to be engaged in devotional service, and that International Society of Krishna Consciousness gives us this amazing opportunity by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. We have this opportunity to practice this devotional service. So I would like to stop here and ask if there are any questions or comments.
Thank you for the wonderful class.
All praise to Srila Prabhupada.
I was just thinking about this point being made where Srila Prabhupada is explaining that the Mayavadis, they wrongly think that Krishna loses his own separate existence in his many expansions. That for want of sufficient knowledge in the absolute science, we are now covered with illusion. Oh wait, that's not in reference to the Mayavadis. But in general, Srila Prabhupada refers to Mayavadis as having incomplete knowledge because they think that the ultimate is merging into the Brahma Jyoti, and beyond that there's nothing more superior that the pleasure that you get from that is the ultimate. That's what they're thinking.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking about this analogy often Srila Prabhupada refers to is the analogy of having a jar of honey and just licking the bottle or licking the outside. But one can really only understand it what is honey by opening it, by tasting it. And I was thinking like that analogy that you said about the cake, that if the Mayavadis are just smelling the cake and thinking that's all there is to it,
Yeah.
then they miss out. And I was just thinking like this with the example of the honey jar is one may just look at the jar of honey and read the ingredients, read the how much sugar it has, how much carbs it has, how much fat it has, and its weight, and like that, the Mayavadi's strength, so to speak, is in knowledge, is in gyan. And just like that, just by reading the contents of the jar, just by analyzing the contents of the jar, one can't think that yes, this is what honey is, just by analyzing it. And I was just thinking like that with Mayavadis, that for them to just analyze everything because their process is neti, not this, not this, not this, not this. That they just look at the material world and think that it's not this element, it's not this element, it's not this element, it's not this element, until they find something that's not within the material world. But even that, it's still incomplete. It doesn't, like we said, it doesn't lead them to experience the ultimate happiness that the living entity is. Sorry, what word? Not destined, but entitled to the fullest extent of happiness.
Yeah, thank you. This is really nice example of that you gave, that Mayavadis, it's like that they have incomplete knowledge, and that they mainly they think this knowledge is everything, that they have this Brahman realization. But like you gave it really nice example how it's like reading the nutrition of the honey and how much fat it has, how many calories, etc. And you think this is how I can understand what is honey, but unless you open the jar and you actually taste it, then you know what it is. That's why Srila Prabhupada says that this is like licking the honey, licking the jar of the honey and trying to taste the honey, but it's impossible. And I was thinking about this verse also. Bhaktiya mama bijanati yavanyascha smitattvataha. Krishna says that one can understand me as I am only by devotional service. So again we come to this point where we understand that we cannot understand Krishna just by mental speculation, by reading about him, but unless we do something for him. It's just like, when we want to get to know a person, we can't just let me read biography about this person and I will know everything. No, you will know something about this person. But unless you associate with them, start to serve them, then you realize who this person is really. So, yeah, this is a really nice point. Thank you. Anything else? Okay, thank you. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
The grace of Nita Vilasini ki jai.
Assemble devotees.